Hello everyone, it's Susie, Crypto Granny here. The date's the 10th of April 2023 and it's nearly the end of the Easter weekend. It's 5 p.m. in Europe time, and let's look at the market of cryptocurrency particularly. Let's talk about some of the main stories that affect our investment portfolios and our trading portfolios, anything else that's newsworthy that will affect markets. We know there's a lot of events this week that I outlined on Patreon, as well as our own platform. Obviously, Binance is going through a hard fork on the 12th. We see Ethereum doing the same thing. We also have the FOMC meetings coming out, meetings coming out from the US Fed and the Federal Reserve, with interest rates going up or down. Also, there's what other big news is there? There's quite a lot out there that I sent out this week. There's a lot of events happening, US CPI and retail sales, which can all affect markets as well, particularly US CPI. So let's get on with where the market is at the moment. Let's look at Live Coin Watch. Market cap at the moment is 1.211 trillion. Volumes at 28.827 bill, very low, probably waiting for all these main events in crypto this week. And the fiat markets. Liquidity is at 4.692 bill, which is quite good. Bitcoin dominance is at 45.46% and still holding. Bitcoin itself is at 28.468. Ethereum is at 18.66. US Tether a buck. Binance is just over $315. USDC a dollar. XRP is at 0.5077. ADA 0.389. Dodge at 0.083, OakB 42.78, and Matic at $1.10. The market is holding. Obviously, it's waiting for these big main events this week. I suspect that this market will trade up and not down. That's my feeling on it. I really believe there's not much supply of Bitcoin, and that's why the dominance of Bitcoin is so high at the moment. So let's look at the main news stories today. I want to try and keep this under 30 minutes. These things are getting too long. It's just that there is so much information to cover in cryptocurrency markets as well as fiat markets. It's not funny. But anyway, last Friday, US job figures came out, non-farm payroll figures. The jobs growth was 236,000. The hiring pace is actually slowing, and that is a reflection of other indicators I've been looking at, which are all showing people are losing their jobs everywhere, particularly in technology. We've already got about 168,000 people this year that have lost their jobs in technology already, and we're only at the 10th of April, and yet last year for the whole year it was about 165,000. The US job reports, they did revise up February's to 326,000, which was lower than what they expected. The unemployment rate dipped to 3.5% compared to 3.6%, but we do see non-farm payroll or the service industry, jobs coming down quite substantially. And average hours worked, average hourly earnings rose 0.3%, or for the year 4.2%, which is not a lot when you compare that real inflation is probably running at about 25% globally. Okay, and so it's not a great story. I don't think this is enough for the Fed to rate rise again. That's my feeling on it. I'd be very, very surprised if the Fed raises rates again, given this story, plus there's other stories out there that the US is certainly heading into a very bad recession. I'd actually call it a depression myself. I don't believe that the US should be raising rates anymore, simply because things are not great in terms of US land. They're not producing anything. They're not creating anything. Their balance of payments is getting worse, and my feeling is they should not be raising rates. People are really getting killed over in the US and everywhere else, including Australia, the UK, Canada, and lots of other countries. Now, the next meeting for the FOMC is May the 2nd to the 3rd, but I do believe economic information will come down quite quickly. I don't believe that the US is in a growth situation. And if you listen to Allianz, which is one of the biggest largest insurance companies out there, they came out on the weekend and said that the US economy is at risk of crash landing, and I believe that, okay? Allianz is a very, very big company, excuse me, out of Munich, Germany. They have about 122 million private and corporate clients worldwide, with 159,000 employees, and they believe that the US is going to a crash landing. The head economist of Allianz, said we expect the economic momentum to deteriorate during the second half of the year on the back of rapidly tightening credit conditions exacerbated by the banking crisis. And I do believe that, actually. I think there's a massive banking crisis going on. and the Fed raising rates at the same time they're putting liquidity into the financial markets is just stupid, right? Also, there's negative confidence about the US banking sector. There's unresolved energy situation in Europe, which will shape the rest of the year. Alliance's analysts began saying, while noting the US economy picked up early in 2023, we see the stresses, and these are short-lived because things are going to get worse as time goes on. And I believe this, okay? We see rapidly tightening credit conditions. There's no money in the system. Plus, a lot of money has been taken out of small regional banks to the large regional banks. Also, a lot of the banks are putting money with the US Fed, and it's actually taking money out of the system, right? $2 trillion has been banked with the US Fed, right? And we know all the banking failures, right? You know, Silicon Valley, Signature Bank, many others, also UBS being bought Credit Suisse, which is an absolute disaster, right? So liquidity in the banking system is very, very bad. And banks have been provided with short-term loans and insurances of deposits. But honestly, I think this will be a hard landing. I'm calling depression, not recession. I think what's happening in the housing markets, manufacturing, construction in the US is a shocker. There is no investment and there is no growth, right? A number of other people have also warned of the US crash landing. It's David Rosenberg, who's a very prominent economist. He said there's going to be a big recession. I believe that as well. Rich Dad, Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki says the same thing, and many other people like Elon Musk, for example. So I think the US, they keep raising rates, it's going to be an absolute disaster, right? Also, we see gold going up quite substantially. It doesn't surprise me. Gold's past $2,000 now for 31 grams or an ounce, and it doesn't surprise me because we find China and Russia buying gold, okay? In March alone, China is stockpiling gold, and they added something like 18 tons to their already 2,068 tons to their national reserve. Now, this is huge. Also, remember, I was talking about Russia and their digital ruble. There was some talk about them actually using gold behind that coin, okay, their digital coin. And that would not surprise me because they're both buying gold in a big way, and this is why gold's going up. Some leading analysts in the gold market, a fellow called Jay Newenhouse, basically has stated that he believes the gold price will touch $8,000 in the next decade. And I believe that will happen sooner than later because central banks are broke. Foreign currency reserves are a shocker. You know, currency is coming off everywhere. And I do believe the US will start going down against the yen very, very soon after the last rate hike or so. And I think the US is in a very, very bad situation. And the same with the UK. So I've advised clients to hold euro rather than US dollars and to get out of US dollars. I think euro is going to be well supportive. Also, the Bank of England is reportedly looking to establish a team of up to 30 experts to develop a central bank digital currency. They're looking to employ people for about $80,000 in salary, and they're looking to potentially create a digital pound on distributed ledger technology. Also, let's talk about Binance. Binance in the US is struggling to find a banking partner with all the regulatory environment in the US. It's a shocker for Binance. Wouldn't surprise me if Binance move out of the US, okay, like other crypto firms and organizations have and exchanges. And we've seen that with Bittrex, I should say. We've seen that with Nexo and many other companies, right? Hubi are moving out of there, Gate.io, they're all moving to Hong Kong. Doesn't surprise me, right? Binance is still, being investigated by the CFTC, and honestly, it's just too hard, seriously, to try and service US clients. It's becoming a shocker, okay? An absolute shocker. Also, SushiSwap was exploited on Saturday for about 3 million worth of Ethereum from a single user's account. It was something to do with their, it was a related bug in their crypto, their crypto language in terms of the network of the system. And, the malicious actor exploited a bug that was introduced into its code 4 days ago for about 3.3 million worth of Ethereum, unfortunately. So it's always the hassle, right? With cryptocurrency, if it hasn't been audited and the code of the network hasn't been audited. Also, there's a story out there that SEC Chair Gensler, Gary Gensler, is a bad faith regulator. And don't forget, he's going to the House, the big house, where you'll have to talk to, people on the legislative board in terms of why is he a great, SE chair or why is he not, right? And I think he is quite a bad one myself. That's my personal opinion. Congress, Tom Emmer, said that he's a bad faith regulator, highlighted that Gary Gensler's unfair approach towards crypto regulation. He believes that Gary Gensler regulates the industry in bad faith and, is not helping anyone, particularly the US, because the US will fall behind every other country in the world in terms of cryptocurrency technology, right? Mr. Congressman Tom Emmer says that, this fellow is not right for the job. He says he's got an open door policy, but Tom Emmer, the congressman, said, enter that door at your own risk, seriously, because the regulator's not interested in talking or negotiating, but just enforcing people with actions and more fines, okay? He said that this guy is, in my mind, is a bad faith regulator. He has been blindly spraying the crypto market with enforcement actions which completely miss the true bad actors. And you know what he means by that? Sam Bankman-Fried, because they were great mates, apparently, him and Gary Gensler, right? Mr. Congress Tom Emmer cited the SEC's treatment of Coinbase to highlight Gensler's unfair treatment of business operating in the crypto space. He revealed that despite holding several meetings with Coinbase to discuss their earned product, the regulator refused to provide feedback. The exchange attempts towards regular compliance were ultimately met with a Wells notice, right? Which is just a joke, right? An absolute joke. Honestly, it's no wonder that Binance is in a new partnership to deepen their crypto adoption in Africa. Binance is looking all over the world to set up operations, and I think it wouldn't surprise me, seriously, if Binance get out of Binance US particularly. It won't affect Binance globally, which I'm on, or anyone else, but if you're a US person, it's certainly going to affect you. Now, crypto exchange Binance said they partnered with a video streaming service called Showmax in collaboration that seeks to deepen crypto adoption in Africa, which I think is a great story for Binance. There's a lot of work to be done in Africa, and certainly there's a lot of activity when it comes to crypto, because in Africa, a lot of the fiat currencies are going down the gurgler, okay? And why would you want to hold fiat currency in Africa when bad government politics and corruption has forced that fiat currency to be worth zero just about, okay? So it doesn't surprise me that Binance is looking to go elsewhere because there's so much more opportunity. Next story we've got, just going through my list here, bear with me for a minute. Also, attorney Jeremy Hogan highlights that why XRP is not a security. Jeremy Hogan, US top lawyer, shared his opinion on the SEC and the Ripple case. He said the SEC has failed in his arguments that XRP is a security. Clearly, he said, according to him, the SEC is defining XRP as a security is wrong. The token doesn't fit in the category of investment contract, which is the only one that you should have defined. This is because other definitions of security, such as bonds and stocks, don't fit XRP. And I agree with this guy. Absolutely right. He said, he explained on Twitter post that the SEC has failed to establish a solid ground for its fight against Ripple legally. The SEC should have been explicitly or implied demonstrated that XRP was an investment contract, but it didn't and it hasn't. Instead, the SEC only argues the purchase agreement made XRP an investment contract. And again, a purchase agreement is not a buy and a sell, right? That's the fact, right? So you can't just say simply that, you're buying something without it not being an investment contract if you don't sell to make profit. Lawyer Jeremy Hogan believes the SEC has failed to legally demonstrate the security. And I agree with this guy. Absolutely agree with him. It doesn't fit into their category of a security. He said the Howey case did not focus on the contract part of investment contract. And it's not a contract if you don't buy and sell, right? And I agree with this guy. This is just a joke and it's going on too long. And seriously, he also said he hopes that this helps Judge Torres Law Clerk help draft the decision for XRP. But, this is just becoming more than a joke, seriously. And the whole market is waiting for this. Now, Ripple becomes the only platinum partner in global central bank digital currency synopsis. Apparently, they've become a global part in DMI's global CBDC synopsis, right? The annual digital money institute synopsis held in London expands the scope of discussion on practical and theoretical aspects of digital currencies, and they've used Ripple with platinum status. And clearly, there's many people that support Ripple and Ripple's technology in decentralized applications as well as distributed ledger technology, right? Ripple also do a lot with other CBDC projects around the world. They have clients and they're building in this, these projects with central banking digital currency ongoing and building all the time, right? So that's a good story for those guys. Also, Justin Sun came out and said Huobi records 150 million revenue in Q1. Plus, they made a $30 million profit in the first year of Q1 this year. Justin Sun sees the profit rising 4 times in Q2. Huobi token is very, very cheap. It has a very high Sharpe ratio. We find it extremely cheap. It's about $3.50 at the moment. The token itself should be worth at least $10, right? So I do believe Justin Sun will make this exchange bigger and bigger. They're operating in Hong Kong, and they will get all the Chinese high net worth clients trading on that exchange, okay? It's a very big opportunity, and I think Justin Sun is right. Huobi will do very well in the future because they're in Asia, and that's where cryptocurrency is growing in a big way, okay? In a massive, massive way. Even though, again, the SEC has filed a lawsuit against Justin Sun for violating security rules, he basically, is not operating in the US anymore and operating in Hong Kong, okay? Also, Cardano, apparently there's been some big whale scoop up about 560 million of Cardano. Maybe something's coming with Cardano. I don't like Cardano at the moment. It's got to improve. There's a lot cheaper cryptocurrency out there than Cardano that hasn't actually performed. Like VeChain, for example, like Solana, like Chiles is cheaper than Cardano, clearly, and a few others on our list of buys. So I just don't think there's a lot going on with that at the moment. Also, R3V3NGE, an NFT game, and Crypto.com have collaborated for a mission the community to go through, and they're collaborating to increase exclusive game for shotgun NFT community. And it's going to boost, obviously the game itself. They intend to launch this shotgun NFT on the 14th of April for the price of $99. It is game avatars and all sorts of things. And, apparently there's about 100,000 players already. Crypto.com has 50 million users, and this should also increase their game strategy as such and increase more clients on their platform as well, which is a good story for them. Crypto.com has recently launched a Visa card too to serve the major purpose of the community for gaming as well. Also, Polygon becomes the second largest GameFi blockchain. There's a question on some of the media, will it affect Medicaid? Ethereum Layer 2 Polygon solution saw users surging in March with many, many active wallets and many, many people actively playing blockchain gaming. Great story for Polygon. Polygon, I think, is still, it's performed very well, absolutely, but it could, in my mind, easily get to $2,000, $2 or so. There's about 138,000 people trading on Polygon for this game, and Polygon are growing all the time, and I think they'll do quite well as well. Another thing I want to mention to you, OG fan tokens. We bought some OG ages ago, just on a spec, $2, and next minute I saw it on the weekend at $14. It's currently about $19.60, it just went whoosh. It literally was up 400% on the weekend. It's sold on Socio's platform Chiles, but it's also sold on Binance as well. And with the OG fan tokens, users get exclusive content, participate in polls, vote on certain team decisions. And, again, they can also have voting decisions in terms of what jersey the teams wear and all this sort of thing, right? OG fan tokens got about 5 million on issue. It's a very small float. Circulating is about 3.8 million. And it's been very popular amongst fans of esport and gaming. We do look at fan tokens all the time. And this one caught our eye. And it's done extremely, extremely well. So we sold our little portion of OG at around 960 today. But it did have a meteoric rise over the weekend. It was up something like 400%. On April the 7th, it was around $2.89 and got to $14.88 on April the 8th. That's a staggering over 400%. So we took profit at 960, but we do keep an eye on OG tokens. When we get to our own platform, our desktop, as well as our app, where everyone's using it, we will be a lot more active in these tokens as well. Now, many people thought that the contributing factor was this because it was a small float, growing popularity of fan tokens, where people can engage with their favourite teams, leagues and athletes, might be fueling demand. But also, taking mine back, Bernard's also did something a couple of months ago with relaunching its own fan token club for users, right? And that would have also encouraged people to start buying fan tokens on Bernard's as well. It's called the Bernard's Fan Club. And, obviously that there's a lot of fan token people that buy or sell fan tokens because they're small floats. Very much like the stock market, when you have small floats, people rev them up and they rev them down. But, this could also have something to do with it, but it's certainly something to keep an eye on, that's for sure. And, it's certainly something we honestly do keep an eye on. Now, I'm quite bullish this week, I should say. I know there's a lot of risk events coming out, as I mentioned at the start of the podcast, but I do believe that there's a shortage of Bitcoin, and I really think any dip is going to be bought with a passion. That's my view. So let's watch this market this week. We're starting to use a lot more of our desktop platform that we created, which is fantastic. We're starting to convert clients from our Patreon to that. We've got a special $65 for existing clients. It will come out soon. You're not going to get anything better than this. It's fantastic. Plus it goes on an app, and we've got to put it in the App Store. But lots going on. We have lots going on, people. And there's always so much to watch in cryptocurrency markets. So have a great long weekend, and we will talk to you tomorrow in the next couple of days with all these big events that are coming out in terms of crypto land. Thanks very much for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.